So Walker Bragman is a liberal author. He is, a Democrat. He's what people call progressive. Um, if you've watched my other commentaries, you know what I think about progressives, whatever. But he's in that category. But really, anybody could write anything, and if they have a serious point to make, I'm going to pay attention. He wrote an article and posted it online to I think his Substack, and I took a very cursory examination on it of it. It was on Jimmy Dore, which is why I was interested, and because a lot of people have been doing hero worship lately, and he's one of the main ones who get hero worshipped, and he's connected to a lot of people who you might call the active left. And here I'm talking about Aaron Mate and Roger Waters and people like that, and Caitlin Johnstone. In the article that Bragman wrote, while um, tenditious in its own way, it starts off by being biased with all these paragraphs. Basically, it's like a laundry list of all the crap that people have been saying about Jimmy Dore. Okay, whatever. And then it kind of gets to the point finally after a while, and that is that there's evidence that Jimmy Dore has been handing out or having his employees sign non disclosure agreements or NDAs. And non disclosure agreements and contracts that bind people to not talking about their employers, contracts that bind workers to not speaking possibly with one another, not speaking in some cases. If you look at tortious interference law, a person who signs a non-disclosure agreement may not be able even to disclose information to their spouse. And then this particular agreement, this particular contract, if you will, apparently has a provision in it that could cost an employee $10,000 if they violate the agreement. So this is a serious thing. Uh, it's debatable how serious it is. Obviously, if you're working for, a tobacco company, if you know anything about NDAs, you'll know that there was a whole movie about this, about how an employee of a tobacco company wanted to do a segment on 60 Minutes. I think it was with producer Lowell Bregman. Anyway, they ended up canceling the segment because CBS was threatened with a $1 billion lawsuit. And that kind of thing and it was over an NDA. It was over a tortious interference. In other words, if you and I make an agreement and you sign an NDA, you can't talk about me as your boss. And if you go and do an interview with somebody, let's say a member of the press, I can sue that journalist for money. Okay, that's one side of it. The other side of it is I can go after you for disclosing information. Now, there are only a limited set of reasons why somebody would want an NDA, mostly to cover up unethical business practices or maybe embarrassing business practices or information that Jimmy Dore doesn't want disclosed. For example, anything that might be used by Sam Cedar or anything that might be used to embarrass Jimmy Dore. But it can also be used to facilitate sexual improprieties, as we've seen with Bloomberg. I'm not accusing Jimmy Dore of doing that, but what I am saying is there are only a limited set of reasons why you would want these things. They are instruments of the capitalist state. And Aaron Mate did a whole long-ass Twitter thread about this in which he basically covered up for his buddy. And that, by the way, is the reason he's doing it, because he's covering up for a friend. This is not standing up for justice, because the NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, and tortious interference and all of these things are anti-worker. They inhibit workers' ability to unionize. They inhibit workers' ability to go after an employer for bad behavior, whether it's sexual assault or some other impropriety related to employment. And you cannot criticize Cenk Uygur for being a union buster, which he is, and then turn around and say, but it's okay for Jimmy Dore to use the instrument of the capitalist state, the court system, and even more cynically, the neoliberal version of the court system, which is the arbitration system. The arbitration system is itself a neoliberal invention because courts are, for some people, even though courts are clearly capitalist and biased, for some capitalists, that's not enough. You have to do a private arbitration agreement, right? Because you're so bad that you don't even want the shadow of a possibility that you might be sued in a courtroom where things might actually be on the public record, right? That's what this is about. The idea that he's defending the privacy of his family is ludicrous because that stops when you employ someone. If it were inside of his family, I could sort of understand that, but you can't have a business and then claim it's all your private family affair. That doesn't make any sense. And for somebody who says, well, I'm operating out of my garage, I'm just a low-level crap comedian. Well, if you're working out of a garage, what are you doing with NDAs on your contracts, right? I don't care how much your house costs, but clearly what this is about your upward mobility and ability to protect yourself from criticism. And Jimmy Dore is not above criticism. All right, anyway, I've said my piece once again. Hit the like button, share, tell me what you think. Those are follow me on YouTube, and we'll talk later. Bye.